It started with the quiet charm of Springfield, Vermont, an unassuming small town where everyone knew everyone. Kids rode bikes down tree-lined streets, and the greatest worry was whether summer would last long enough. But behind the picturesque landscape lurked something darker, a shadow that would turn the town's worst nightmares into reality. From 1979 to 1983, a predator walked among them. His name was Gary Lee Schaefer, and he wasn't the kind of monster hiding under the bed. He was the kind hiding in plain sight. It's the quiet ones you've got to watch out for, right? Gary Lee Schaefer wasn't new to the darkness. Before Springfield, he had served in the Navy, but let's just say his service record was less than honorable. Discharged for arson and drugs, he moved from base to base, leaving behind a trail of missing girls, each one gone under disturbingly similar circumstances. Like an unholy ghost, he haunted every place he'd ever been, but no one was connecting the dots. Not yet. Then, in August of 1979, Springfield's peace was shattered. Nstasia, a bright-eyed 13-year-old, was last seen getting into a car at midnight. A neighbor watched from their window, thinking nothing of it. But this wasn't like Sherry. She was the responsible one, always watching over her little brother. 4 months later, a truck driver found her body, buried beneath a snowbank. Broken ribs, a shattered leg, and the unmistakable mark of strangulation. Springfield's first lost daughter. Almost 2 years to the day, another innocent life was taken. 12-year-old Teresa Fenton asked her parents if she could go on a bike ride. Her parents agreed on a route, and like clockwork, she was supposed to be home by a certain time. But she never returned. Her bike was found, glinting in the dark under a flashlight, abandoned. And Teresa was nowhere to be seen. 20 hours later, her body was found by a man taking his kids fishing. At first they thought they'd stumbled upon a wounded animal. But the moaning, that was Teresa, barely clinging to life. 2 days later, her fragile hold slipped away. The clock was ticking, but Springfield still didn't know who was hunting their children. Now Gary Schaefer wasn't exactly subtle, folks. He wasn't your typical criminal mastermind. In fact, his downfall came from, wait for it, a red car and a very brave 16-year-old girl. Dena Bowden was hitchhiking when Schaefer, in that infamous red car, pulled over. This charming fellow threatened her with a gun and tried to turn her night into a living hell. And just when it seemed like the terror would never end, Dena did something extraordinary. She fought. At every turn, she looked for a way out. At a liquor store, she tried to get the cashier's attention. At a convenience store, she ran for her life. And here's the kicker. She gave police a perfect description of Schaefer and his car. Imagine this. Schaefer, in a panic, speeds off and crashes his car. Police arrive at the scene and, wait for it, they don't make the connection. The man who had just tried to assault and kill a teenage girl was let go, free to roam the streets once again. Springfield had almost caught its monster, and didn't even know it. But monsters, like all things in nightmares, only grow bolder over time. April of 1983 would bring the worst blow yet. 11-year-old Catherine Richards was walking home with her friend Rachel when Schaefer appeared, gun in hand. Rachel managed to escape, but Catherine wasn't so lucky. She was taken right off the street into that dreaded red car. The next day, Catherine's parents called the police for an update, desperately clinging to hope. But instead, they were told to come to the station. The body of a young girl had been found. Catherine's face had been beaten so badly that she was only recognizable by her braces and freckles. The town had lost another daughter. But this time, Rachel's description of the man led straight to Gary Lee Schaefer. This time, they had him. When Schaefer was finally caught, the town hoped for answers, but what they got was much worse. During his trial, Schaefer confessed to the murders of Teresa and Catherine and to the attempted rape of Dena. For his crimes, he was sentenced to 30 years to life in January of 1984. But let's be real. How do you measure a life? Sherry, Teresa, Catherine. 3 lives cut short, 3 families left to wonder what if. And all the while, a town was left grappling with the fact that the monster had been in their midst for years. 30 years isn't nearly enough, is it? Springfield may have regained its quiet charm, but the scars from Gary Lee Schaefer's reign of terror will never truly heal. The memories of Sherry, Teresa, and Catherine serve as a reminder that even in the safest places, the darkness is never far away.